Pool. I apologize for that. That was the intro from last week's show with Frank Castle when we talked about Pool. Happy Halloween, everybody. What would it be if it wasn't the After Dark show if I didn't start off with a mistake? So, welcome to the After Dark show. I'm Don Rogers. Tonight's guest. Oh, I lost my spot here. Tonight's guest is a practicing witch, a tarot card reader, and instructor of both tarot and witchcraft, and one of my favorite conjurers to converse with. And she is That Witch from the Witches in Karena. And thank you for coming back, Karena. I am just tripping all over myself already. I'm embarrassed that I did that one other time with another guest, except I had made an intro about we were going to do some fart humor stuff. And it was these two very well-read religious people, and the whole intro was about farts, and I was just horrified. So that wasn't nearly as bad, but it was definitely an interesting one. But you know, the wonders of working live.
Right? And you know what? I think that we haven't spoken in a couple months or whatever, but like the relationship that I have with you and your family, it's all good. I know there was no malice or anything. And today, honestly, has been one of those days. I walked in to teach my yoga class at the studio that I work at, and everything was like out. Like they were replacing a washer, and she's like, I actually forgot that you were like coming in to teach. I'm like, this class has been running for 3 years. How did you forget that? But it's because she just had so much on her mind. So like, honestly, Dawn, it's all good. And hi, thank you for having me.
Yes, I am so glad to have you back. I love having conversations with you. Like I mentioned in the intro, you teach witchcraft, and you also teach tarot, which both of your classes, my interdimensional exit buddy Kyla has taken, and just I actually got to sit in the back and catch some of it. And I would highly encourage anybody interested in these subjects to definitely look into it. Her Facebook link is in the description. Like just the little bits that I got to hear and overhear was just phenomenal information that most people don't know. This stuff isn't general knowledge. And then on the other hand, your description and like the story behind tarot, I was just astounded. Like I didn't know half of it. Like I would just sit there with kind of like bated breath. Like, what's she gonna teach you next? Like this is awesome. Like I didn't get into listening to the descriptions of the cards, but the backstory of it was absolutely fascinating. And then listening to some of the subject matter in your 101 on witches, again, just wonderful to learn about.
Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. And oh, hi, Kyla. Yes. Okay. I was wondering if that was you or not, just because it's so good to see you. I hope that Kyla, she can share those recordings with you, Don, so that you can learn more if you want, because that was the agreement here. So I want to make sure that that is honored. Kyla, no, I'm just kidding. But I'm glad the snippets that you did get were helpful for you, right? And yeah, I love teaching it. And I love that like every time I teach someone or a cohort, like I learn something as well. Like my understanding broadens, and just it's always such a different class with like the same basis, right? So I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it was really neat to even listen to the interaction between you and the other students and Kyla. Like I can't encourage it enough because she got so much out of it, and even the overflow that I got was helpful. Like it helped balance a lot of things that I hadn't put into that context. So that's why I'm praising it so fondly, because like I didn't even take the class and I got stuff out of it. So absolutely look into it, guys.
Beautiful. That's my goal. I hope that like when people come across my energy, that they leave one empowered, and two like knowing something about themselves or just the world at large, that they're like, wow, I've never considered that before. Amazing. Beautiful.
Nice. So I want to ask, how long have you been into witchcraft? Like, I don't want to repeat our whole interview, but I just want to refresh everybody. Like, when did you start getting into witchcraft, and how long have you been into it?
So I would say that I was like born a witch 100%. Like I remember when I was like 4 or 5 or 6, right? Like I was dressing up as a witch for Halloween and like just kind of taking that on. When The Craft came out, I'm sure there is like a lot of craft watchers here, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I was all over that. Like I was like, "Wait, these girls actually like they appear to be just a couple years older than me. Like this is possible." And so I have been practicing since I was very, very young. I have been professionally working as a witch for tomorrow 6 years. So tomorrow's my anniversary of practicing as a professional witch.
That's awesome. And you are doing amazing at it. And I did forget to say off the top, your guys' Halloween costumes were adorable. Kyla
Oh,
showed me that was cute. I definitely appreciated that. That you know,
yes.
being there's a ginger cat around here somewhere. Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. So yeah, that's my niece, and she always jokes that like we are crazy cat ladies. We just love cats. And so we had to go as mom cats today.
I think that it looked great. And I actually saw this just, synchronicity. I think it was like 15 minutes before I logged on. This actually showed up on my Facebook feed.
Yeah.
Pretty sure a witch is just a woman who had to learn to heal herself because modern medicine erased her. I couldn't agree with that more. Like, it really is true. Like, a, after you guys did the class, I really started to look at witchcraft a bit differently because, like, a lot of it is the way we're supposed to be working with energies, but we've been led away from it and forgotten. And I'm actually going to skip ahead. We were talking about Sarah L. Caldy before the show, and I asked her, and I'd love to get your answer on this question as well. Um, how close do you think the practices of witchcraft and alchemy are?
Witchcraft is alchemy to me. Like, and in fairness, like therapy is alchemy to me. Therapy is witchcraft. I would say that when you're cooking at your stove, that's alchemy, right? It's taking raw material, it's taking just something, all these things, and like turning it into something else. And so art is alchemy, right? Like like everything, life, a flower growing, it's alchemy. It's all witchcraft. It's all this like beautiful blooming of life. That's what I would say.
I I think that's really fair. Like, that's a good explanation of it because when you think about it, like, I know she's in the chat. Even I am fascinated watching Kyla create things out of fiber because, like, not only can she make her own yarn, like, which is just amazing to watch, then she turns it into a hat or a scarf or a shirt, like something, and it's like I've watched the end to end process of it going off of a sheep and becoming a thing, and it's like that's alchemy.
Hmm.
So I guess in the same hand, it's almost witchcraft as well. So because
Absolutely.
you're changing the form of something. Um, so I think a lot of people in our community need to know about spiritual housekeeping. And when I say spiritual housekeeping, I mean like cleansing your living space of unwanted or negative energy while inviting in positive, protective, and divine presence into your space.
Hmm.
And as a witch, what are some of the ways that we can really promote the spiritual housekeeping?
Hmm. So I really like to teach magic and witchcraft or alchemy as this space of being in the mundane. And Kyla mentioned over here, apparently some people build altars without knowing she builds altars. And I think that that is such a beautiful example of like spiritual alchemy, right? Or spiritual house alchemy, right? House cleansing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna like let's go to the kitchen, okay? And you are about to prepare a meal for yourself or your family or guests. Well, what are you going to do first? You're going to make sure that that kitchen is clean. You're not cooking in a dirty kitchen first. Hopefully, maybe like, and I don't want to talk like, it's not that I don't want to talk about it. Some looking at your energy capacity as well. All right. So for me, I might be like, oh, yeah, there's a few dishes in the sink. I'm going to do these up, whatever. What I like to do is kind of like put out all my ingredients and like look at them. So I'm physically making an altar like of my food. And then I'm going to like pull the ingredients and cut them. And as I'm talking, as I'm cooking, I'm like talking to them. Maybe I have a playlist on, I'm singing to them. And then as I'm cooking, I'm thinking about the meal. Maybe I'm thinking about my day, right? But like it's this aspect of like welcoming that beautiful energy of nutrition into our home. Now, we all know spring cleaning or seasonal cleaning happens. And so, what we can do is when we are like spring cleaning or seasonally cleaning, really dividing things into piles of like, okay, I'm going to keep this. This has to go in the trash. I don't know. I've for months I've been saying I'm going to make something of it, maybe even years. I'm going to make something. I'm going to fix it. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's dead weight. I don't need it anymore. Let's get rid of it. Let's throw it out. Okay. And then a third pile of like, if this isn't still in good use, but I just won't use it anymore, I'm going to donate it. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to, or again, seeing where I am, and I'm going to call in more energy with that. So, of course, we got the first of the month tomorrow, and I believe I talked this on the last podcast, but blowing cinnamon into your home, right? Another really great way is to wash your floor with basil. So like putting all your regular cleaning supplies in, putting basil in the water, and then going about and washing your floors, calling in abundance because you're clearing energy. You're saying like, I don't want this here. I find that when we start as humans start looking at our lives as more like ritual through routine, that's where like magic can really happen, and where we'll start to notice that like, oh, this corner feels kind of stagnant. Why does it feel stagnant? And then we can go over and all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's a cobweb there. Do I want to keep the cobweb? Because maybe you're like me. And sometimes you just are like, the spider needs a little place to stay. It's cold outside, right? Or, cleaning the walls. Get in the crevices of your house. Like corners, energy gets stuck in corners of your house. If you are able, pull out your couches, pull out your chairs, get underneath there, vacuum. Personally, I only wash my floors like this, but when I used to have like a bigger mop or something, I would wash once a month my floors on my hands and knees. Why? Because I personally am like, I want to feel the labor it takes in order to do this, because it's just going to feel so much better for me. You don't have to do that. That's just something I like to do.
Mhm.
Going around thinking about when you're outside, like, because spiritual hygiene doesn't just happen inside the house, it happens outside your house as well. So like, think about again your spring cleaning, your garden cleanup. What are you doing with your vegetables, with your flowers? How are you tending? How are you caring for something? And really allowing that to inform you. People say all the time, a cluttered home is a cluttered mind, is a cluttered body, is a cluttered life. So taking that time to really be like, why am I holding on to these things? Or what purpose does this serve? What intention does this serve in my life? And then deciding, do I let it, like the Marie Kondo, right? Does this spark joy?
Yeah.
And then letting it go. You can also um in your mirrors or your windows, okay, for some spiritual hygiene, you can ward them. So you can make yourself like a sigil and then ward on the outside or inside of your home or on your mirrors if you are someone who believes that mirrors are portals. Because windows are portals to your house, doors are portals to your house. So you're going to want to block those, but you're also going to want to call in abundance with them as well, right? And
Yeah.
same with mirrors. Also, never have a mirror facing your bed. Never have a
That
mirror over top of your bed.
that is sorry, I'm just having a moment. I got an energy clearing from some friends the other day, and there was some weird shit going on, and they're like, "Do you have a mirror beside your bed?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "You need to cover that because that's what's going on." And we covered it, and I've slept like a baby since. Like, and you hit on so many things, like even down to the spiders. We have an agreement with the spiders in our house. If we don't see you, you can stay. We
Mm-hmm.
won't wreck your house. Just don't want to see you.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, they're pretty decent about it.
Yeah.
And and something I wanted to just hash out of what you were saying there, is it fair to say that like physical clutter could actually cause an energetic block?
Yeah, of course, because your our brain thinks it's in charge. Okay? Our body's really in charge, but our body is kind of like a little bit passive. And so it won't talk as loud because over decades, I would even say centuries of just like the patriarchy coming in, we've been really trained to be up here. Okay. But like, if your brain can't, is constantly looking out and being like, something needs to be done with this, something needs to be done with this, something needs to be done with this, then how are you going to create a creative passage, which is what intuition is, which is what alchemy is, which is what witchcraft is, through the body? Because that's how I feel that witchcraft, magic, alchemy moves through us, through the body, in order to create a portal for abundance or whatever you're seeking.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right. Some clutter, like I have over in my office here, I have cut, like if you were to look at it, it would be clutter. But it's like I also can't do anything with this, right? Like I'm not going to
Yeah.
go out and get a storage unit for like 5 boxes.
Yeah.
So instead, I'm just like, okay, yeah, this looks like clutter, but it's organized. My brain isn't tuning into this at all. I know what's in this. I recently went through it. I know exactly what's in it, and that's it.
So that's actually really good advice. If you can't get rid of the things, it's helpful to organize your chaos, right? Because then at least it looks functional.
Well,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't, this doesn't look functional. I'm going to be 100% honest. It does not look functional, but it is functional. It is serving a function, right? And if
Yeah.
I had a basement, it would be in a basement, or an attic, but I don't. I have my office, which is also kind of a spare storage space. And so I share space with this. And like, that's okay, but it's organized chaos. Absolutely. But my brain isn't tuning into this. Sometimes it might go, ooh, this is an eyesore, but that's just my like type A, almost type B personality mixing together.
I like it. Just real quick, Kyla actually had a question in the chat here when we
Mhm.
were talking about fiber. She said, speaking of fiber, I was wondering what the significance of the red thread in the closing of circle is.
Mm. So the red thread is the womb line. So our ancestors through womb, right? So our mother line, but not just that, like our line to all womb holders. Okay. And so when we close the circle with the red thread, we're closing the circle on kind of like this space of like knowing that the womb is creation. The womb is like how life is made and brings us back to our original mother, which is Mother Earth, because without her, we would not be possible, right? Without the womb, no one would be possible. There's nothing to sow seeds in if if the holder is not there. So the red thread is all about the womb line, and Judaism gets into that a lot more.
I I actually understand that. Like I see the lineage and what the significance is. I So you said you've been doing this for 6 years. What would you say is the most miraculous thing that you have experienced or brought in with your intention or a spell?
Hmm. I don't To be honest, I am I am just really, really grateful for the life that I have. Like, and that might sound like kind of like fluff or whatever, but like to be honest, like sorry.
No, it's a hard
If
question.
yeah, like if you knew the kind of like hardship that I have held in my life and how witchcraft has always brought me back to like centering self and just being in this place of like, okay, we can be both, and we can be sad and we can get shit done, right? Like I can honor the both and of all of this. Truly, when I look back at my life, I'm like, fuck, it was hard. Like there are very hard moments, and some people will say to me, "How did you do it? Like how did you do it?" And it's like I had no choice. But also, I think that without all that, without all those moments of kind of, 10 of swords or whatever kind of moments, like I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. And, you know, I'm going to be 38 very soon. And I really am looking at 2025 as this like giant, like crumbling in order for this like amazing manifestation to happen. And so actually, you know what, to answer your question, I don't think I've experienced it yet, because like I think like the best is yet to come. Like I'm enjoying life so much that like I can't wait. I can't wait to see what's next. I don't know.
I I love that because it really feels like you're working with the energies of the universe and helping manifest your best life. And I actually wrote down that both and. I absolutely love that mantra. Like I'm going to start to adapt that because there's a lot of shit even in my own life I him and haw and don't do because it's too hard. No, I can do both and. I love that and I appreciate that information and I hope everybody else caught that too because that is a hell of a way to look at things. And I
Yeah.
really like that.
Well, that's what alchemy is. It's the both and. This is both raw material or circumstance and an unfinished product or a not yet made product or the made product of. Like that is witchcraft. It's the both and.
I love
And
that.
that is where we center, right? That's where we're like, okay, and here's where I choose discernment and go from there.
No, I'm going to adapt that. You just shifted something in me while we're on the air. That's awesome.
Beautiful.
Um, do you have a coven?
No.
No.
I'm a solitary witch. There is a woman that I will get together with every once in a while and like do like burn bags and spells and stuff with. But for the most part, when I am doing like witchcraft for me, I am doing it solitary. Now, in my like Witching 101, Witching 102 classes, and like other programs that I run, I do the spells along with you, and I am like working magic for me. And it's not that I wouldn't call these amazing women that have found me like my coven, because I would say that like they are like an extension of me, and I am an extension of them. But in the traditional sense of a coven, I don't know. And like actually, like as you're kind of saying that, and like you're giving me kind of this epiphany. Like maybe I actually do have a coven, right? Like I do have this kind of like I'm thinking about practical magic and like, the calling tree. And like I do have women that I can call on. And yeah, maybe we're not throwing spells like all the time and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I know that even with Kyla, like if I needed to reach out and be like, hey, I need something, like I need you to help me and assist me with something, I know that there would like in what she would be able to give, she would absolutely. So like, yeah, I guess I do. It's just not, I guess, in the traditional sense of like gathering under the full moon all the time and like doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. It's kind of like an extended coven, like yeah, like an exo coven almost.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
A
I like that.
tree, a practical magic call tree.
Yeah. So where do most people find their coven, or like do you know where they generally tend to collect with each other?
Okay, so covens are generally like kind of closed practice. So you have to be invited into a coven. Um, or you and some friends or spiritual makers are like, hey, I want to make a coven. And you're making like collecting and calling people in, right? There usually has to be about 4 because you want to represent the 4 main elements, 5 to bring in ether, okay? Because ether is important and it's often forgotten in the elemental table, but it is part of it. And usually there's no more than 13. And the reason for 13 is because that is the number of the witch. And it comes back down to stability, the number 4. Okay. So you have to be invited in. I have seen on like some witches groups on Facebook and stuff where people will be like, hey, we're basically calling in some witches. So if you would like to join our coven, basically applications are available. And I mean, like there are other like paid groups, right? That like people call it their coven and stuff like that. But like a traditional coven, you would maybe pay like some dues, or there would be like an offering every time you gather, like a potluck or something like that. But yeah, it's usually closed practice.
I'm just kind of, I like what you're saying about the groups on Facebook. It's almost like the modern era coven. Like you can go online and do that too. Like we live in such an interesting age. That's all.
I know. It's so cool.
For you yourself, how often do you practice?
Every day. My life is ritual. And my life is ritual. Like, and I think for me in 2025, that's really what is settled in my bones. Like there are specific times when I am like, yes, like I like to call them throwing spells, right? Like throwing a spell out. But like what I've really realized is that like over these last 6 years, I have weaved my life so much with intention that like I am a walking ritual. And like the more that I align myself to like, does this align with my values, my morals? Does this align to the life that like when I die and like lay my head to rest, that I'm like, this was a good life. Like this was a good life. The more that like just so much goodness flows to me. But if I try and do specific spells like around the new moon and the full moon, the turning of the wheel. So I'm not going to be practicing tonight, but I'm definitely going to be practicing tomorrow. And then my birthday's on Tuesday, so like I will do spell work on Tuesday. But it's also kind of just like when the spirit calls, I'm just kind of like, you know what? Someone needs to be put in the freezer. Put some chili peppers so they get diarrhea as well. Like,
Oh my.
yeah.
So you were mentioning that but like, what really motivates you to practice? Like, I know you're very proficient because you've explained how you're basically manifesting your life daily. Like, what really drives you to the point of this creation that I'm just looking for the words here. Um, what is the intention of your practice? Like, where do you see this going?
In the words of John Lennon, I want to be happy. Like, really, again, like 2025 has brought me to a place where it's like, I don't really want a lot. And I know that even at times when I've had very little, I give a lot. And I know that at times when I've had a lot, I've given a lot more. And that makes me really happy. And I I just I love happiness. To me is like connection. When I feel connection to myself, but then when I also feel connection to like the people that I'm interacting with, like you and me right now, right?
Yeah,
These beautiful people in the chat, right? Like that connection, like this makes me happy. That that is my ultimate goal. That is my ultimate intention. And there are tangibles that I have that are goals that I would like to see that through. But I also can look at my life and be like, but I'm accomplishing that already. So that's just a bigger version of the manifestation that I'm already living right now.
I like that because, and I think Kyla's in the chat. She's just loving this.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's a lifestyle. The word practice seems to imply that you need to carve out intentional time to do it. You can, but you just end up incorporating it into your day.
Mhm.
And she also replied to, I can't get up there. Hold on 1 second. Unlike you, I'm on. I'll just be on standby with my dial a witch and ready to heed the call. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing you definitely have that backup you were thinking about.
Yeah. And I
Um,
think it really is this like it's this lifestyle shift. And like I know you guys know my story a bit, but like I think for me, I had gastric bypass in April of 2023. And that was such an alchemic experience for me because it took me listening to my body to be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. We need help. We need help. And so I did. And the lifestyle shift that I knew I needed to make in order to allow this to be sustainable, but also in a healthy way was undeniable. And the more that I got to like show up and be like, I'm doing this, like, I'm really doing this, the more that like this lifestyle of like, oh, I don't just like say I'm a witch, like I am a witch. Like I really do live this. And if I didn't live this, I wouldn't have been able to make this change and like listen to my body and make that call and ask for help. And so, yeah, I think that there's kind of like moments in our lives where like we kind of like have a spiritual awakening or like I like to call it like a drop in. Like, oh my gosh, I just dropped in to my body and like I understand so much more, maybe not about the world, but about me and how I interact with the world. And wow, like, wow, does that kind of magic and understanding of self change? It changes the game so, so much.
I absolutely agree, and it's wild that you bring that up because my friend Frank and Kyla and myself have been discussing walk-ins and drop-ins and all of this lately because we've experienced. I'm not even who I was 5 years ago. I had my awakening, and everything has completely shifted. I wouldn't even know me 5 years ago,
Mhm.
right? It really has changed that much in a short like a short span of time. It's like yeah, I don't even like that guy. Like, it's not that I have anything against him. It's where I
Yeah,
needed to be at the time, but
sure,
I don't even want to hang out with him. Like, even in my head, it's like, no, I'm good,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
And it's exact. You nailed it right on the head. Like, you just drop in and have this realization, like, holy shit, I'm really here, and I need to do this, and I understand this better about that. No, you're absolutely right.
yeah. It's, I think a lot of people think they're waiting for this moment of just like, the third eye opens and you're like, I see aliens. And I'm not saying you don't, right? But like, I'm not saying like you don't as you don't. Like
Yeah.
you can experience all that. But I think like a true experience, spiritual awakening is in.
Mhm.
It's this place of landing in and being like, and how you described it of like, oh, I don't even really like that person. And like maybe that person didn't even like that person. And that's why we were acting in the way that we were acting and or surviving the way that we needed to survive. And like, wow, I'm so grateful for whatever that moment was for that person to be able to bring me here. So the both and I can be like, I never want to go back there again. But
Mhm.
and and thank you so much for helping me survive. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And absolutely, like that neutral mode of myself is what got me through some very, very terrible times. So no,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, but yeah, you got to go. I'm going to be over here, right? So
Yeah.
totally resonates. I love people that understand this because there's a lot of people that, well, you can't talk about this shit with normal people. Let's just be honest, because
Mhm.
if you try to, you just get like the slow blink, and they're like, "What?"
Mhm.
Right? And it's wonderful to have found a community. And shout out to Phil Warder because he's the reason that Kyla heard about you, and I ended up interviewing you because I listened to that. So thank you, fellow Canadian. You made an
Yeah.
amazing connection. Love you, brother. But no, like it really is just like that. Like,
Yeah. It's so interesting that you say that because me and Phil were talking today about a podcast appearance, but I am definitely someone on his which call list I have him drop into my inbox all the time. Okay, I need a spell for this. I need a spell for like my client here, and I'm like, yeah, no problem, man. I got you. Here you go. This is what I would say. This is how I would help you. So I love it.
dial a witch was Kyla. I
Yeah, yeah,
love it.
yeah. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing about being a witch?
Ah, I love, you know what? I love the perception of it. Like when I tell people that I'm a witch, I love when people are like, "Oh, so that's this then? Oh, so you do this then? Oh, so you do that?" And I'm at the point where I'm just like, "Yep." Like,
Want to see my broom, bitch?
yeah, like I don't like whatever. Like you get to think whatever you want, right? And sometimes it depends, like obviously it depends on the context. Like I might be like, "Oh, actually no, like this is how my witchcraft is because everyone's witchcraft is very individual and but yeah, like no, this is my version of witchcraft, but like I can understand why you would think that and because a lot of people think it's like Hollywood, right? And someone's like, oh, so you like stand over a cauldron and I'm like, well, it is soup season. Like, do you like, like you know what I mean, like that, or I do enjoy making soup or I do enjoy cooking for my family, like but like you know it's the perception of it and just this place where like I get to maybe sometimes like wear a different hat than like who I actually am and just kind of like play along for a little bit, play dress up a bit.
Yeah, I like that. And since you mentioned the hat, I want to run through some of the stereotypical things about witches, like you were just talking about that perception. I just will do it one at a time.
Sure.
How often do they wear the hats?
I think it depends on the witch, right? Like a lot of times when I'm showing up places, they have said to me like, "Oh, I thought you would be wearing a hat." And I have a hat. It's somewhere. Oh, it's right there. But I don't wear a hat. I mean, I have this like crown on today,
Yeah.
but um I don't really wear a hat. I know some other witches that like they love veiling because that's what a hat would be. It's a veil, right? And so it's a spiritual protection that they're wearing. So that's not what I do. I have my bracelets, and that's how I veil. Okay. So yeah, I guess it depends on the witch.
I love that. And so I guess the next one would be the long black robe, like the garb. How often do you wear that, and what is the purpose?
Sure. So garbs are traditionally worn in ceremony or in ritual. Okay. And so, especially on like nights like tonight, there would be a garb worn. Okay. Now, these garbs usually indicate your station in your coven, like who you are and like your ranking within your coven. Okay. Um, Other witches, like for me, this I would say is definitely I've had this for probably like 3 years now, where I'm in a place where like when I'm kind of like stepping out or doing something fun, I will put this on and this is kind of like my garb. So again, I think it depends on like who people are and what they're doing.
I dig it. And one quick question from the audience. We got, where does the melting water thing come from? I'm melting when you get
Oh,
water.
okay. Melting water? What does that mean? I don't know. I think that was just like um holy water.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's I think what they were trying to like depict in The Wizard of Oz is that like it's water that, and it wasn't blessed water in The Wizard of Oz, but that place of because witches are known to work with the devil, and so you're melting away their sin, you're banishing them.
Yeah,
That's what I would say it came from.
that makes sense. Actually, I never put that together. Good question, Jason.
Yeah,
Um,
great.
my my friend Lee, who is often silly, but it actually leads into my question. Do
I love it.
you prefer a broom or a Hoover? I was actually going to ask the significance of the broom.
So a broom or a besom is a ceremonial tool. Um, so it's often used in moments of like celebration in ritual. Um, and so I think that um it kind of got tied into the Hollywood version. A broom is also something for like that spiritual cleansing of your house. Like you would lay like dry herbs on your ground and like sweep that out and sweep it out the front door. And so of course, like if you started to kind of see a lot of women like who lived alone that were like kind of handling everything, right? Not just doing like house chores, but also going to work and stuff like that. It was like, oh, this is a powerful woman, right? But the besom is used to clean your altar. Um, and it can also be used in ceremonies like hand fasting. So you would like jump over the besom. So it's like you're jumping from like one life into another. You're sweeping away one life and you're welcoming in another. So, I have a broom that like I made a couple years ago. It actually sits in the corner of my room here. Um, I don't know. I would say I don't have carpet, but if I had carpet, I really enjoy a nice vacuum line.
Well, you didn't
But I
actually have to encourage him.
yeah, no, but I usually I use a broom. So Swiffers don't pick things up.
Uh, my friends are funny. I that actually you just triggered something in my head. In grade 8, our teacher read us the book Roots, and that's where this question comes from. In African American culture and some voodoo, there's the tradition of jumping the broom. Is that where that comes from?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Some pagan cultures do that as well, right? When they're getting married or when they're celebrating, right? Hand fasting. They will jump the broom. You might even see it at like Mabon because like you're jumping well, the year has turned, but it's the first fire festival. So you might see people like jumping over brooms and stuff. Yeah.
That is awesome. And you just like put stuff together for me in my head there again. So, oh,
Yeah, it is deeply rooted in African culture. Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Um, what would you say your favorite spell is? The one you would probably use the most often, or kind of your a regular spell that you would most often use, I guess.
Hmm. The spell that I use most often, and it's probably because I'm a Scorpio. I love a good cord cutting. I love a good like, and I like when people message me and they're like, "Can you do a cord cutting for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that. I can fuck with that for sure." Because it is like it's an untying of energy, right? And so it's like that jumping, right? Where you're saying like, I no longer want to be connected to this anymore and I need to let it go. And so I love a good cord cutting. And then my mundane answer would be I love a good rage clean, because I think a good rage clean really helps alchemically the mind, body, and the energetic space.
I love that answer. Um, are some spells seasonal? Like you were talking about like different phases of the moon and your birthday and stuff like that. Are there spells that are just for specific seasons to promote certain energies?
Sure. Yeah. So like a fertility spell. You're going to want to do a fertility spell probably in the spring because it's fertile, right? But then there'll be asterisks to that where it's like, okay, if you need this fertility spell sooner, do it on a full moon, right? Because again, that signifies pregnancy. Um or you might want to do it when the moon is in Taurus, or you know what I mean, like things like that. So there are definitely seasonal spells, but there's always going to be like an asterisk to it. And most like books or teachings are going to be like, if you feel called to do a spell, there is a reason why you're being called to do that spell, so do the spell. Yeah.
That makes sense. How could the average person get started? Like, I know they could reach out to you, but like, how would you suggest the average person get started and where to look for information about getting into witchcraft and working with the energies?
Yeah. So what I would say is get started by like maybe working with your element. So, like, for instance, I'm a Scorpio, so my element is water. And so, really kind of like getting to know the element of water, researching, alchemic properties of water and all that kind of stuff. And then kind of go from there. Maybe you're a witch that prefers divination, pick a divination tool, right? Tarot, really get into the craft of tarot and then allow that to kind of bleed out from there, because you're going to get elemental magic, you're going to get moon magic, you're also going to get energetic magic, numerology, all these things, right? Don't try and consume it all. Pick one lane and move from there. Even let's say someone's like, I really want to do spells, like I really want to do love spells. Okay, start looking up love spells. The more that you look that up and start follow, because they're just recipes, really, that's what they are. Like when you start following the recipe and it's making this suggestion on like the Taurus moon, be like, why the Taurus moon? Then go and Google that, right? Like allow your curiosity to pull you where it needs to pull. I promise you that all of a sudden after a year you're going to be like, oh wow, I don't just know tarot, I also know this and this.
That makes sense. And you mentioned picking a type. What are the types of magic?
There's so many different types of magic, right? There's like candle magic, there's fire magic, there's crystal magic, there's like black magic, there's white magic. I don't like using those terms, but there's white
Yeah,
magic. There's also like different, like I would sectors like voodoo, hoodoo, right? Like pagan. What I would say is again, go from your roots. So for instance, my ancestors are from the UK. And so I'm looking to their heritage in order to work the magic that's going to be good for me, right? Like, I'm not going to look at Aboriginal studies. I might look at them and appreciate them and like sit in circle with someone and like, but I'm not going to do their practices because although it might work for me, it's not going to have the longevity that like working with my ancestral roots is going to have.
That makes sense. And it brings me to another question that I had is how often do you go by the book spell, or how often do you just create from your intuition?
I'm a chaos witch. So I am just kind of like, sometimes I might be like even on Instagram, right? And someone is like, "Oh, I did this spell today." And I'm like, "Ooh, that looks cool. Like I want to do that." I just kind of will like look at it and I'm going to look around to like what I have at my disposal because again, witchcraft isn't about like having the perfect tool or having the perfect ingredient. It's with working with what you have, right? And so and then I'll kind of like adjust and stuff like that. But if I'm doing like ritual, it's usually because like or spell work, like it's because something has sparked inside of me and I'm in a place where I'm like I need this and then I just like build the spell and like I'll even like build a playlist to like work along with the spell.
That actually makes really sense. I've been doing a lot of research on frequency and energy, and it makes sense that you would have musical accompaniment to project energies because that's part of the frequency. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, sorry, you're just giving me even more epiphanies here. This has been fun tonight.
I love it.
What spells? I know we talked about how to with the spiritual cleansing promote abundance by adding the herbs to your floor. What spells would you suggest to promote good health and abundance?
Mm. So I know for a lot of us, especially our friends in the States right now, we are moving into a place of extreme food insecurity. And, you know, it would be very white privilege of me to be like, well, buy good foods, right? Like buy healthy foods, right? Because that's the best spell. No, you know what I think the best spell is to speak to your food. Regardless if it's a McDonald's Happy Meal or a ramen noodle or a fucking 5-star Michelin meal. Speak to it and offer it gratitude and invoke your frequency of gratitude into the food because one, that food, regardless of all the chemical properties that's in it, because even good food has chemical properties, it's going to feel your vibration. And I don't even like I don't like that word good food, right? Even
Hmm.
food, yeah, just food has chemical vibration that it's going to feel you. And so if you speak to your food, Christians will say pray over your food, but don't pray out here. Pray down here. Thank you. Thank you for what you are going to do to my body. Thank you for feeding my hunger. Thank you for sustaining me. Thank you for giving me the sugar boost. Thank you for whatever, whatever, whatever. It's going to sustain more. Deepak Chopra actually did this study, and I don't know if many people know who Deepak is, but he started with manifestation. And he proved that it didn't matter the food you ate. What mattered is how you thought and spoke about the food that actually influenced the way that the body processed it alchemically. And so words, thoughts are our most powerful, powerful spell. And I think the more you talk to your life, as well, right? At the end of the day, finding a moment where you're like, wow, I handled that so well. Today was fucking shit, but I handled that so well. It's not necessarily gratitude because sometimes it's hard to find gratitude, right? But it's easy for us to be proud or find confident. Well, maybe not easy, but when we can start farming, being proud or celebrating self, that's when we can start looking externally and being like, wow, I am grateful for this. I am grateful for this. I am grateful for this. I think that is the most powerful, powerful spell anyone can do because it centers self rather than giving power away to some spell that's like, if I do this, it will happen. No, it's because you knew or thought it would happen that it happened. You created that line to pull that forward to you. You believed it. So speak to your food, speak to your life and watch how it changes. Truly, truly, truly.
I
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. And apparently, from down the hall, Kyla is reading my mind because she wrote that. And oh, of course, you can't see it. I
Yeah,
wrote
because
the
it's white.
same
Yeah.
thing. I wrote the same thing on my book. Dr. Emoto proved it, like with the water tests, that speaking to your food and your water, it's energetic projection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything in this reality is affected by frequency, and that includes the frequency of our voices, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you project that authentic love into your food or water, it
Mm-hmm.
becomes purified because that's your intention. Like you've absolutely knocked it out of the park. That was yeah.
The other day I was buying groceries and I knew the bill was going to be a lot higher than it normally is, right? Because I was out of chicken, I was out of this, I was out of that, right? And as I was walking up to the counter, I started to feel this place of like, okay, I know I can afford this food, but like, whew, like I don't know. I still like even where I am today, I still get those moments of like lack and scarcity that comes up. And I was like, you know what? Look at this food right now and just thank this food for everything it's going to do for you, right? And then as you're paying, thank your money. Thank you so much because I just saw this good food and in my mind I can see all the amazing amazing meals that I can make out of these ingredients. Thank you. And yes, it's going to take time and yes, it's not going to be convenient and yes, some days it's going to be fucking hard cuz I fucking hate how dark it is all the time right now. But you know what? I'm here and I'm doing it. And like, I am so, so, so grateful for this food right now. And you know what? I made the best butternut squash soup yesterday. And it's a testament. And it was great. It was great.
And I've actually talked about this before, is that empty somatic response that we need to deprogram from ourselves, because a
Mhm.
lot of us carry guilt and shame. And I'm going way off topic here, but you hit something that I'm very passionate about, because I call it empty shame, because there are certain things that I do because I can now, and I still have that somatic guilt, shame. Oh my God, this no, it's not. No, it's
Mhm.
not going to destroy my life. No, it's not going to empty my bank account. No, it's not going to cost the food in the cupboards. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not, because I'll just go get more, right? And that's just the way it is. And I'm not trying to sound like a privileged white person either. I'm just being honest that that's the way I intend my
Mhm.
life to be, and that's the way it's been being,
Mhm.
right? And when I get those empty somatic responses, I get into this why war with myself. It's like, why do I feel like this? Why? Why? Where's it coming from? Why? Why? And when you chase it back down and you can't find anything, it means there's nothing, right? And if you get stuck in a loop, you've missed something, right?
Mhm.
It's a simple process to really break down these emotions that have been put into us by society. You and I got into
Mhm.
this last time about community, society. That's what has done this to us and makes us
Yeah.
feel like this, because we've been programmed to do it.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, and a story I hear, right? Because when I'm working with private one-to-one clients, I always say, "What's the story you're telling yourself right now? What's the story is that a true story?" But what I hear so often from folks is the way that they were spoken to as a child. If you knew how I was raised, you would feel privileged for the way that you are raised right now. But my ancestors' ceiling was always meant to be my floor. I was never meant to go backwards. And so if you raise the bar, then you cannot punish me for that bar being raised. Instead, praise me for holding that abundance in my life and saying, I fucking want more because my kids, my nieces and nephews, they deserve a better world. And that's not from a place of greed and hoarding. That's from a place of being able to live in community and reciprocity. But we need to fix this scarcity that the government continues to put on us. And they are the biggest perpetuators of it is a privilege to be where you are. Sorry, we're all getting off topic here.
No,
But it comes back, it stems back to that belief. And when we pluck that belief, the abundance and the gratitude, we can find so, so, so much more.
I think you absolutely just
Your
killed
mic,
that.
you got to plug your mic back in.
Oh no, hold on.
Yep.
Is it there? Am I back?
I can hear you, but it's faded.
Oh, I lost. I kicked it. How's that?
It's better.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that.
No,
No,
it's okay.
you're absolutely right. Like it, once you start to learn to work with the energies of this reality, and that's was one of the hopes that I could get out of this show was what we were just driving home there is you can work with the energies of this reality, and if it's alchemy, if it's witchcraft, it's you looking stuff up on Google to figure out how these concepts actually work, because what we were taught in the public education system is largely wrong, is the nicest way I can say that. Like there are ways to work within this reality that that is withheld from us and buried and put away. And I think things like alchemy and witchcraft and energy work and Reiki and tarot readings and channeling and all of this stuff is the abilities that we've lost, and or at least the step into that reality. Because when you start realizing that most of what you were taught might not be entirely true and you start looking outside of it, the things you were told were nonsense, they're actually the things that really work in this reality. I never thought being in a good mood could change my life, but it has.
Yeah, it does. And it's not for like a lack of accountability. It's not for a place of whatever. And right, like you and I both said here, it's not to kind of like, be in a place of like seeing our like or downplaying our white privilege, but it's like it's being in that space and saying like, yeah, I am privileged simply because of my skin tone. And like I'm going to be allotted different privileges, even in like lower income because of that skin tone and all these other things, these systematic things. And I think that this is why it's so important, and why when I'm teaching people, that I teach people to come in to self, so that when they hear these things like, oh well, you're very privileged, they can actually listen and hear and be like, you know what? I personally wouldn't look at my life as privilege, but knowing this system at large, you're right. You're right. And it allows for what I like to call taking off our defensive ears and actually coming into a place where it's like I can listen with empathy.
Yeah.
and teach, especially me, like I teach so I can teach from a place where it's accessible to anyone.
Yeah.
And that's really, really important to me. And a lot of the work that, I've done throughout my life. Yeah.
And we've been going over an hour, so that leads perfectly into, do you want to tell everybody what you got coming up and about your classes and courses and
Yeah.
stuff? Because I don't think I ranted about them enough at the beginning. It's better coming from you. So please tell everybody what courses you got coming up and where they can get that.
Sure. So, I have my Tarot for Beginners course coming up in January. So I believe we begin January 18th. So if you would like to learn tarot, please reach out. I do have a really good deal on private tarot classes right now. I'm taking three more people with that. So again, if you're like, I don't want to wait till January 18th, reach out. I always offer payment plans, and I really, really try my best, depending on the season of life that I'm in right now, to like offer discounts if that's available to me. Okay. Um, and then I I've actually this year I've really come back out of base, like I've gone back to basics. So as of right now, I do not have a Witching 101 course available. That's coming up. However, I do have Become the Witch coaching and mentoring sessions where we can work together one on one in order to do that. And then maybe you just want to like experience a little bit of my magic. Until November 4th, I am offering Samhain readings at $77. So those are hour-long readings. They can happen over Zoom. If you happen to be here in the Niagara region, Ontario, Niagara region, and you want to come to the Witches Inn, you're more than welcome. But I do offer them over Zoom, and yeah, just reach out, and I'm happy to chit chat with you.
You've raised another question before we go, just real quick. What is
Yeah.
Samhain?
Samhain is Halloween. It's the witch's new year. Yeah. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
so Samhain is it's an Irish word. And it talks about the turning of the wheel. And actually this like again, it's winter. Today is the first day of winter in the pagan wheel. And we talk about the sacrifices of of our time. So yeah.
Then, sorry, I'm running stuff through my head again. What is Sam Hain?
Yeah, it's pronounced Samhain. So Samhain or Hin. It's Irish, so it's a Gaelic word.
Yeah.
So it looks like Samhain, but it's Samhain. That's how it's pronounced.
Thank you. I was taught I actually went to a pagan festival and got taught the wrong word. So thank you very much. I now know.
Yeah, it is. It's Irish, and so it needs to have that proper dialect to it, and it is pronounced like sow, like I believe it's like the AMH makes the ow sound, and then in you kind of the IN at the end, but yeah, Irish is a crazy fucking language, man. So
My great grandfather was straight out of Dublin. I remember being only able to like pick out the swear words when he got going, so that I understand.
Yeah, I'm always last year I got really like really really into I'm always wanting to learn and so like Gaelic I just want to like school people a little bit here, okay? Um Gaelic is the English way of saying how Irish people speak, okay? But the language is Irish. And so when people are saying, "Oh, they were speaking Irish," a lot of times people are like, "So fucking English?" And it's like, "No, it is its own language." And you will see Irish people say Irish Gaelic so that like other people understand that, but it is Irish. And like it is important, and again, I'm not saying anything about anyone here, but it is important that we say Irish because it is part of the reclamation of the very real genocide that like the English people put on to the Irish people and colonization of them. And so, anyways, that's just.
Oh no, I've stuck my head down the Irish Holocaust rabbit hole, and I'm pretty sure some of it was my family, so I understand.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but on a little more fun note, I do want to thank you so much because it has been another wonderful hour of sitting and talking with you and just shooting the shit about all of this wonderful stuff that you help teach the world, because that's what we need, is to get our abilities back, to get our cooperation with this planet, with these energies, with this universe itself. And I think what you're teaching is a fundamental skill that relates to a lot of these things. And I appreciate the work you're doing. You definitely gave my wife a paradigm shift after that, well, during and after. So I know it will definitely be informative to anybody who picks it up. And thank you so much for what you do, Karena, because I know you're helping people from cutting cords to rage cleaning. It is definitely all useful information.
Beautiful. And thank you so much, Don, for like having me back on, and like just a short little like shout out to Phil for like connecting this web, and also like the way that you have connected me to other people. Like this is really what community is all about. It's what reciprocity is all about. And I am internally grateful to you and Kyla. It just, you both just make me feel so warm and fuzzy. So thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And I want to thank everybody that was in the chat tonight and everybody who listens to this in the future. And like I always say, if you can go outside, please do, because it's a lot better than sitting in front of this screen.